Hi, I'm Jeanette Jenkins. I'm from Gilbert, Arizona, and I did my internship with Native American Fatherhood and Families Association. This was a really great internship, and how I found out about NAFFA is when I went to the UN a few years ago. I attended the Commission on the Status of Women with another organization, and while we were waiting in line for our badges, I was standing in line behind Albert Pooley's children. Albert Pooley is the founder of NAFFA, and I was just really impressed with them. We talked for probably at least an hour in line, and they told me everything that they were about, what they believed in, and what they were trying to do, and I was just really impressed. And they were here in Mesa, Arizona is where they were located. And so when we got back from the United Nations, I reached out to them. I took my husband to meet them. I took a really good friend of mine who is fostering a Native American boy to meet. I wanted him to meet this wonderful family. And so, and during that meeting is when I told them that I'm a videographer and a photographer, and I would love to help them with anything that they would need. And so from that point on, I started working with them. And so I've worked with them for probably the last 5 years. And then when I saw that I needed to do an internship to complete my degree for marriage and family studies, I knew that I wanted to do my internship with them because I really just believe of what they're doing, and it's amazing. So their main focus is that fatherhood is sacred and motherhood is sacred. And they take this message to tribes throughout the United States and Canada, and trying to bring families together and heal families. So it's really, they have this inspired curriculum that is pretty amazing. The foundation has 5 foundational principles, and it's creator, choice, teachable, wisdom, and service. And so these are kind of their foundational principles that they build their curriculum on. And I had the opportunity to help them. They're getting ready to take their curriculum to the non-native world. And so I had the opportunity to kind of help them make some decisions there and how they should word things. But for the most part, I said, I feel like the Native American community has such a unique voice, and especially this organization has such a unique voice. I said, I think you should keep it pretty much as it is, because I feel like there's a lot of value in what the Native Americans have to say and in their wisdom and experience. But I got to work with that. So these are the 4 curriculums they currently have. They have the Fatherhood is Sacred, Motherhood is Sacred curriculum. And there's about 12 sessions or like chapters, I guess you could say. They also have Addressing Family Violence and Abuse, Linking Generations by Strengthening Relationships. And then they just recently introduced a suicide prevention. So that was really fun to be able to be a part of that. And I got to sit in on some of those. I made some videos to go along with their curriculum, and I'll show you one of those in just a moment. So their main focus is, like I said, keeping families together. And that does not necessarily mean that you stay married if there's an abusive situation, but to do all you can to heal those relationships so that you can interact with one another. It's important that families are able to interact with one another, whether or not the marriage is still intact or not. If your children need you to get along, and they need you to be the best you can be. So that's kind of how they defined keeping families together, is to create that kind of an environment. So one of their big things is sacrifice. The reason motherhood is sacred and fatherhood is sacred is because it requires sacrifice. And so I helped them make a video about sacrifice, and I'll just show you that so you can get an idea of some of the things that I was able to do in this internship.
The Freezing River. One day in late autumn, a woman with 3 small children found herself stranded across the river, about 2 miles away from her people's camp. The river was beginning to freeze, and the weather was becoming very cold. She knew she had to get back because she and her children would all freeze, starve, or be devoured by wild animals. The mother knew of only one wide and shallow place where she could safely cross the river with her 2 young sons and infant daughter. Normally, the water was waist deep at the point of crossing. The mother led her children to this point, sheltering them from the cold as best she could. She was dismayed to find that ice was forming in the river, and though calm, the water rose below her breast. The mother developed a plan to take her children across the river safely. She could only take one child across at a time. The mother placed her oldest child upon her shoulders and waded across the river. Once she and her son were safely on shore, she instructed her son to stay there. The boy cried and followed her while begging her to let him go back across the river with her, knowing that he would drown if he went into the deep water. The mother did what she had to do in order to protect her son, and what she most dreaded. She tied him down in spite of his cries and her own tears. The mother quickly waded back through the freezing water and safely placed her second son on shore in the care of his older brother. She crossed the river yet again to bring across her infant daughter. When she finally got all her children safely to the shore, the freezing mother still had to walk to the safety of her people. The exposure the mother suffered from ensuring that her children were safe was her last act of sacrifice. She died 2 days later.
So as you can see, that was just a little part of the curriculum, and it's really inspiring. And to be able to, so some of my big takeaways are, and the things that I learned as I was doing this internship, and Albert would say a lot. I always say 3 things. We always tell the mothers and the fathers 3 things. Be kind, be useful, and have a good attitude. They seem pretty simple, but I thought, wow, those are some profound principles to live by. To be kind to everyone, not just the people you want to be kind to. Be kind to all mankind. Be kind. Be useful. Do something useful with yourself, and be useful to others so that they need you. And then have a good attitude. So those are some of the things that were big takeaways. And then these are just a couple of the quotes too that felt really impactful for me, and the things that I've been experiencing in my life. You've paid a high price for your experience. Use it to help yourself and others. Learn from your experience. And then also, your broken heart is the price you pay to become like God. I thought that was a really beautiful thought as well. That's something that I would take away with me and always remember. Some of the other things that I did while working with this, with NAFFA, was I did some data entry. I also did some filing, which I think interns do end up doing a lot of stuff like that. But it was great. It was really fun to work and interact with the other employees at NAFFA, to just learn a little bit about them. It gave me an opportunity to do that. And then also they did a big Father's Day festival, which was amazing. And I'm actually helping them put together a little marketing video for next year, because it was really incredible. And they had people come, but more people needed to know about it. And so I'm going to help them a little bit with marketing that and getting that ready for next year. How it applied to some of the other courses that I've taken or to my degree. Mostly the family advocacy, the child and family advocacy class really stood out to me. That is really what they're doing, is they're advocating for family. They work directly with families and keeping families together. They work with tribes throughout the United States and Canada. And They do a lot of advocacy work for family at the UN. In fact, they're planning a big, for this next CSW commission, the Commission on the Status of Women, which will be in March of 2024. They're planning a big cultural presentation, and they're going to invite like 200 tribes, and they're going to do music and dancing, and they're going to talk about the family and how the family is central to the Native American heritage, and how the Creator is central to that. And it's really neat because they have such a unique and powerful voice. They can say things that that maybe not everybody can say. And so I love that they are using that voice. And so they are ready to take their message globally. They want to take this message all around the world, which I think everyone needs this message, and how important fathers and mothers are. And Al would say a lot, you know, you won't be probably a doctor or a lawyer or whatever in heaven, but you will be a mother and a father. That's an eternal occupation and profession. And so it should take the majority of our time and efforts to perfect and to become the best fathers and mothers that we can be. And I just loved that about his message. So I highly recommend anyone who is looking for an internship, and if they're local here in the Phoenix area, that the Native American Fathered and Families Association was really, really amazing, and I loved it. And who you need to contact, that is Valerie. She's amazing. So Valerie S at aznaffa.org, and you can contact her to set that up. And it really was an amazing experience for me. I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I was able to work with NAFFA. Thank you for listening.